This city of Stuttgart in Germany is a cosmopolitan, with people of many nationalities living here. Kelly Barracks is the headquarters of the US Africa Command, Africom. Any form of filming here at the barracks is strictly prohibited, just like in many military installations in Uganda and elsewhere in the world for security reasons. The US Africa Command was formed in 2007 out of the European Command, which had been working closely with the European Military Alliance, NATO, from the time of World War II to protect Germany from attacks by the Soviet Union and other hostile neighbors. The Africom headquarters at Kelly Barracks was named after Kelly John, who was killed in the process of saving fellow Americans during the Second World War II in 1945. It was also in Stuttgart that James Bynes gave a famous speech of hope on 6 September 1946. He spoke of eventual prosperity and honorable return to the community of nations. This was the advent of American post-war Germany policy. After Europe had stabilized, then US President George Walker Bush conceived the idea of forming a command that will help foster good relations with Africa and ultimately contribute to its economic development.
If we work with people in a government, even if we don't agree with everything that government does, that's better than creating a Cold War and building a wall.
But it was not a rosy start. Some critics say that the US Africa Command decided to dedicate most of its time and resources on Africa in order to invade some of the African countries anytime or take their resources. However, the core values of US Africom are diplomacy, development, and defense, or the 3 Ds.
As we've gone about our business, doing what we've been doing, trying to show people this is what we're really about, and demonstrate that this is, that this is what we say, and that our actions, we hope, are meeting what we say, and vice versa.
The pioneer Africom commander was General William Ward, who served from 1st October 2007 to 9th March 2011, when General Carter F. Ham took over. Africom has an airbase called 17th Air Force, which is a 2-hour drive from Kelly Barracks.
Very nice to meet you.
The commander of the airbase is Brigadier General Margaret Woodward, who holds an MSc in Aviation Science and National Security Strategy. General Woodward has experience in 2 refueling squadrons, meaning she can refuel fighter jets from the space as they fly. It was from this airbase that the US planned and executed an air raid on Libyan President Muammar Gaddafi's bases after he warned that he would wipe out residents in the opposition stronghold of Benghazi. This was the first time Africom got involved in the Libyan conflict because the US did not want to see another gruesome situation like the 1994 Rwanda genocide that left over 800 Tutsis and moderate Hutus murdered in 100 days of bloodletting. Bill Clinton, who was the president then, was later blamed for not doing enough to stop the murders, is on record as saying that the world should never allow a repeat of the Rwanda genocide. Funds to the US Army are approved by the Congress, and whatever the Army does, most of all foreign missions like the Libya attack and the 2 Iraqi invasions must be approved by the Congress. Officers from different sections of the US Army, such as the Navy, Marines, and Air Force, spend a lot of time at different bases planning on how to enhance US military cooperation with Africa. Contrary to what one would expect at the headquarters of such a military outfit like Africom, sophisticated weapons and huge choppers or even fighter jets, they are just office buildings here. The only weapons seen here are the tanks that were captured from enemy forces. This one was seized from Soviet troops during the Second World War II. Just like this Russia-made tank that was captured by the US Army during the 2003 war with Saddam Hussein, these weapons are kept here as reminders of a violent history. Although the role of Africom is clear, at first there were misgivings in the German public about their work here, but slowly the nationals have embraced and coexisted with the US Army.
With the Americans come the money. Their shopping power comes here, and that's what's seen by the little stores around the area.
Africom has a base in Djibouti in the Horn of Africa, and the commanders say they are not about to open another base.
Our first commander used to say, if I'm visiting one African country, there's more than 50 that I'm not in.
The most recent activity Africom conducted in Uganda was the Operation Atlas Drop, jointly conducted with the UPDF in Soroti district. The training was aimed at boosting the skills of the UPDF soldiers in providing area support and resupply to the troops in war zones or even during disaster. Such skills come in handy when soldiers move to evacuate civilians in emergency situations and therefore improve civil-military relations. This wall was built by the Soviet Union in order to separate East and West Berlin. But it was not until 1989 that it was brought down and peace and harmony was realized here in Germany. Not only does this wall remind them of the miseries of the past, but also brings a smile on their faces since now they can live in unity. Sudil Biarhanga, NTV, at Africom headquarters, Stuttgart, Germany.